Hmm.
What's going on, guys? Hey, how are you? Repeat back with you, and it is Sunday night. There's going to be another broadcast of the eSpark Filter Time eSpark Cup Series, and tonight we are at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. See which one of these 35 cars, that's right, 35 cars, see which one of them is going to be able to hit the jackpot, stand on stage, dance around with those showgirls, sing with Caesar, and now, yeah, at the end, advance themselves into the eSpark Filter Time point standing. So, as always, man, I tell you what, the voice of this guy, no matter how many times I hear him, the professionalism, the time, the effort, the attitude that he puts across. Rick James, here with us. Rick, what's happening, buddy? Rick, you got me, bud.
Peter, I got you, pal. I
There
am
you
so
are.
excited, bud. I am ready for this third round of the Filter Time eSpark Cup Series. Man, we're at Vegas. Round number 3 coming up, so I'm just thrilled for this. The points are still close. They're starting to stack up with Stout Whiskey leading this. Slade just 17 points behind, and Lucky Dog 21 points behind that leader. Our top 5 are just spread by 35 points. So it's going to be fun to watch from all angles.
Man, 2 weeks ago, I was in the booth with you for the season opener at Daytona. Last week, I was stuck in a traffic jam on 95 heading south as quick as I could, but able to catch the audio. Didn't want to do anything stupid there. And I remember the battle between Stout Whiskey and I believe it was Lucky Dog for first and second. And then I think I heard something about J-Paw, maybe just because I'm a friend of his. His name's kind of stuck in my head, top 5. And then I hear that he finished all the way in the back. So Stout past Daytona really wasn't looking to really be where he's at right now. He's got to be extremely happy with the way that his season's rolling so far.
Absolutely, Pete. Stout's got to be incredibly happy, but we're only 3 races in. There's still so much work left to accomplish. And these guys are getting qualifying underway right now. I'm sure there's a lot of pressure on not only to get a good start position, but they're going to need to be steady. Vegas is not an easy track to get along with.
No, it's not easy, but from what I hear, talking to a few of these guys, including Dohar, during their pre-race, these guys are messing around with a new feature that's been added to the game here in just the last few days. They're racing around Las Vegas Motor Speedway on high draft. They said it's been phenomenal. You were in when I was asking. Big John, what if the higher draft was messing with his tire wear, is messing with his fuel, or anything like that? He said he's got a very aggressive gear setup. And he didn't mind sharing that information in the middle of everybody else. So I'm curious what Big John's going to have up his pocket, or in his pocket, or up his sleeve. A little bit of a Vegas pun there, but we're also going to be able to keep up with him tonight for a lap count, fuel, and all that to see how these guys get on. We're talking about what do you say, 19 to 20 laps on a tank of fuel.
19 to 20 laps on a tank of fuel, and these drivers are going to be slingshotting like Talladega, Pete. So I don't think anybody's going to hold all the cards here because the first place driver could very well just be a sitting duck while the drivers behind him catch up with that high draft. So another variable thrown into this giant mix of the third round of the Filter Time eSpark Cup Series.
Yeah, a big mix. It's the first D-shape oval. Very bumpy. Different ways of getting into the corner. That high line can come into play depending on how the cars are set up. Now, most of the time I broadcast for NNR on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. These guys are all setups. They are messing with every single aspect of the car under the hood. So we'll have to see if they're going to be able to get side by side through the corners, or if it's just going to be a long train trying to progress based off of somebody, really not hitting their mark properly. Man, I'm excited. This will be the first race I've seen with this high draft package. I'm really curious more than anything.
Who isn't, Pete? I think with this new feature, they're certainly taking advantage of this, and it's going to put together a great show, not only for the fans at home, but for the drivers watching this slingshotting as well. This could be something new that these drivers use for the rest of the season. But I think they picked a great time, a great track to use this new technology, and we'll see how they get along, man. But Vegas, every pun intended, is a great place to gamble with different setups because of the versatility of this racetrack, and it's going to be something that we quite literally have never seen before.
Yeah, we've seen and we've talked about these draft tracks for a while. Obviously, Daytona and Talladega, those are self-explanatory. But Chicago, Las Vegas, even Dover, Kansas, Charlotte. I mean, there's a whole host of tracks that rely on some form of draft, one or another. I don't know if they're just testing this out to maybe see how it'll work a little bit later on in the season, or if they are planning on running it this way. But in pre-race, Dohar said that when they were running, having a good time testing it out, it was a bunch of phenomenal racing. So if Dohar says it's phenomenal, man, I can only take it for what it's worth. Aries, Rock NASCAR, and Yates, thanks for coming out, hanging out, and chatting it up between you guys. Good to see you. They did. They are in. They are in qualifying. I thought we were going to get an invite to that, but I guess it just didn't happen. I'm guessing Dohar got a little busy, but yeah, it shouldn't be much longer. Like I said, I'll have the stream from Big John to help us out all the way through. Race 3. You just mentioned, Rick, that there's only about a 30-point gap amongst the immediate leaders. Who are you kind of keeping your eye on for tonight?
Stout Whiskey and Word Burton. Stout Whiskey, as you mentioned, has had a very good start to this year, but he needs to defend that start, and he needs to defend his point lead. And what better way to do it than to have a great start in your first 5 races? Set the tone and let your competitors know that you are indeed the real deal. One driver that doesn't have to prove he's the real deal, Word Burton. This guy gets around with great success from league to league, and nobody can seem to stop him. When he's on his game, he's on his game. But again, we're only 3 races in, so these are 2 drivers that really need that big performance today to cement their intentions in this Filter Time Cup season.
Yeah, Word Burton is, it's funny that you talk about him and how well he does. When he came over to broadcast with me on Thursday night for the NNR Cup Series, Stout was sent out a text saying that I was going to have a phenomenal wheelman in the booth with me, and man, I've seen him on track here in eSpark. I've seen him on track in RSR. I've seen him, in many different places. I've heard him call races. He's kind of like the jack of all trades, but on the track, the man can absolutely get the job done. And if I'm not mistaken, he tried out for the Pro League last year, just barely missed it, like just barely. And I think when it comes around again this time, he's gonna have a very, very legit shot, as most of these guys here in eSpark do.
Absolutely, Peter. eSpark is, I would say, certainly one of the premier leagues in NASCAR Heat 5. Again, not pro level status, but a lot of the guys that race in this eSpark competition go on to be pro league drivers. Case in point, eSpark admin was there for our truck race that we did at Eldora a couple nights ago. The great Atlanta Racing was with me in the booth there, and we saw a lot of talent that's going to be the next Stout Whiskey, the next Word Burton. And right now, Stout Whiskey and Word Burton are a couple of steps away from being pro leaguers themselves. So quite literally, Pete, Filter Time eSpark Cup Xfinity Truck is a direct ladder system to the pro league if the drivers are good enough.
Well, obviously, you said two words right there, filter time. If Dohart wasn't good enough, if he didn't have any kind of a relationship with Blake Koch, they wouldn't have a legit sponsor for the filter time series. So, yeah, if you're able to get on out there, get a word out. Perform on track as he's done. I believe he's got what one or two races in the filter. I'm sorry, in the pro league where he brought it across that start stripe first. I think it was Kansas last year. Don't recall the other. Kansas in season one, I should say. I don't recall the other right now, but I seem to think there was a second.
Absolutely, and there's just so much talent in this field, Pete. These drivers really do get on well driving against each other, and it's difficult when these drivers are close friends and they interact with each other in very special ways, not only through NASCAR but through other games and the rest of the Xbox community. I just think to myself, at what point do you put down the friendship and you actually give your friend a little bit of door music to let him know that this is serious?
Well, whenever you can do that, handle it on track, be able to handle it off track, not really ruin a friendship. Some people do take it a little too far. Hey, man, you hit me, and all of a sudden you're knocked off their Twitter, you're knocked off their Facebook or your Xbox friends list and whatnot. If you take it that far, and you have no communication, well then you've got some kind of another problem. But what I've seen out of eSpark really so far, besides a couple little tips here and there, these guys mostly get along pretty well with each other.
Oh, absolutely, and that's one of the great things about this particular community is how well they get along with each other.
Yeah, just like Ari said out there, every race only have friends off the track, business time on the track. That's my vote. Yeah, Aries, you've been around for a long time. You would know, sir. Still waiting on these guys to finish up qualifying and get us the invite to come on out, check them out, see who's gonna have that coveted pole, very needed pole at Vegas. We'll check to see if Rick James's pick of stout whiskey, if he's going to be able to grab the pole, maybe grab that W. We'll definitely have to see. I didn't see a full roster for who's out here. I do know that they've got 35 or 36 cars going, just a couple shy of a full field like what we saw at Daytona. But man, either way, 35 cars around Vegas for the track that it is going to be a sight to see. We're running the day race, not the night race, but either way, when we're going through the field and you see car after car after car after car, it's going to be a great time.
A fantastic time. We're still going to see sparks out on that racetrack. We're still going to see these drivers beating and banging their way through the front of this field. I mention again, we're just 3 races into the season, Pete. These drivers have so much still to race for.
Yeah, I mean, very long. If you've got the season schedule up, or maybe you just know off the top of your head, how many races is the season?
Say again, Pete?
Any idea how many races there actually are in this season?
Let me go ahead and pull up the schedule for you now, Pete. It's certainly a long schedule here, but as I'm going through this eSpark Cup schedule, I can tell you we're at round 3 here. It looks like total we have about 14 rounds in this particular season. This being the 3rd week at Vegas, we are following Daytona and Richmond first in order. Next weekend is Iowa. Round 5 is Michigan, followed by Bristol, Chicagoland, Watkins, Glen. Round 9 is going to be Pocono, and then I believe the 10th and final round of the regular season will be Indianapolis. The playoffs will be Atlanta, Martinsville, and Talladega. And then we have that final round, which is actually going to be a random track and yet to be decided.
Wow, well, there we go. So, man, that is definitely a long season, and there's also been a lot of talk out there about how long we might actually have Heat 5 for before they either make the next one for the next gen console, which is coming out, if I'm not mistaken. It actually came out today. I think I could be wrong. I've definitely been wrong before, but it's going to be interesting to see if they rush a new game out right for that new console, or if they're going to take their very, very sweet time, which is absolutely something I hope they do, and make the game right. I certainly don't want to go into a new game where for the next 10 years they're talking about it being a building season like the Buffalo Sabres or the Buffalo Bills. I want them to have a game that we could just hit the ground running, everything be on the very up and up, and something that we could be proud of, and call these races right from the get-go.
Pete, this is actually a conversation that I'll call back to Friday night with the great Atlanta Racing. It's a conversation that we had about the game as well. NASCAR Heat 5, where it's come, where the series will be going. As far as the game goes, it's frustrating for fans and for consumers alike, Pete, because there was so much promise for this game, but only so much that the developers can do with the current platform, where next year with the next gen, not only do we get a new platform for the game, everything's going to be rebuilt from the ground up, but also we get a new generation of console that will have a better looking game. So you also hit the nail on the head, Pete. Year after year, they say that it's just a building project, that they make every piece a little bit better. And I think some of the fans' patience is starting to run out, especially from what we hear from these drivers in the community, from what we hear with the servers affecting them. There's really a lot of moving parts here, Pete, but once again, 704 having a brand new platform to work with next year rather than being contractually obligated to work with the current platform means next year's game will be 100% different from the ground up.
Yeah, building on a brand new engine, brand new platform, brand new game. 704 is pretty much by the wayside. Monster went on over to Tony Stewart, I believe, to his dirt game franchise. There's just been so much movement over the last just few months. It'll be interesting. I just hope that we're not going to build it all up, and we're just going to be torn down when we actually buy the game. These guys are done with qualifying. They are all back in the lobby now, getting those last-minute instructions from Dohar and his admins to set this race ablaze. Again, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 35 cars will be on track. As soon as I get any kind of an idea about who's going to be on that pole, and actually scratch that, y'all know him very well from the pilot of the 37. I'll just leave it at that. So we'll see where he is going to be able to take that machine, and who's going to be starting on his outside, and what they're going to be able to do with this huge draft.
That's the one thing I'm looking for, Pete. They're going to have restrictor plate level of drafting on a 1.5 mile D oval. You got the word earlier from this year that, or you got the word earlier from Dohar that it makes for fantastic racing. So we'll take their word for it, and they are just about to get going here.
Yeah, we definitely need those areas. Okay, I was going to say it was taking a little bit, and I saw their counter count all the way down. I was like, man, we need to go. But yeah, as you can see, now loading in the Pennzoil Las Vegas 400 presented, there we go, by Jiffy Lube. Rock NASCAR out there saying, praying to the server gods that they are kind tonight. Rock, I'm right there with you. We'll have to see if we can get past that 10 p.m. Hour without any kind of a serious bump. If we do, well, we'll do our best, and we'll work through it. But Rick James getting in here, looking at the track again under the daylight hours. It's going to be, I'm going to guess the track's going to be a bit slick and ready to go. Glexon, back to you, sir.
Pete, before we get going, I want to give a shout out to the ticker at the bottom of the screen. Folks, get that link from the chat. Enter this raffle for that Chase Elliott Bristol win car.
Absolutely, definitely supports a great cause in morethanAcape.org. If you like that Chase Elliott diecast, the one that he put into victory lane during the Bristol All-Star race, you're going to love it. And yes, ladies and gents, the rear end of the car lights up just like it did. First of its kind. I know I want one. And when I talked to More Than a Cape yesterday, he said he's got about 40 entries so far. Make sure you get yours in. $5 to get you one ticket, $10 gets you three. And right now, 37, he's in control of the field, heading to turn one here, Rick.
Heading to turn number 1, 39 laps in this first stage at Las Vegas. Track bar in the 37, Big John in the 16, in the 42, Fluffy in the 16. In the number 2 is Stout Whiskey in that vert Penske Mustang to the inside. Dohar in the 88, and already there's still 2x2 through the third corner. Big John on the outside of the 37. It's going to be a drag race to the line, and using the draft to lead the first lap. Big John in the 42. Track bar in second place in 37. Fluffy just edging Stout Whiskey for third in the 16.
I tell you, if that is the norm of what we're going to see, where somebody's going to be able to carry that kind of momentum off the high side, this is going to be a phenomenal race. Track bar in the 42 still side by side. 42 is able to pull back up on his outside all by himself. No help out there. That, again, is a testament to the high draft setting for tonight's race.
Pete, look at the bump drafting through the front straight. The 16 of Fluffy putting a bumper to the rear of the 42 of Big John. Big John up ahead with a little bit of love to the 37 of Track Bar. Now as they round out of the second corner, the 37 of Track Bar leads the 42 of Big John in second. Fluffy in third. Stout Whiskey in fourth. Camaro, Mustang, your top four. Track Bar's going to lead out of the fourth corner, but watch the run the 42 gets. And there goes the 16. Look at Pete. This draft is going to make for some fantastic racing, but on the other side of that coin is what it's going to do with 35 cars on this racetrack. Surely these drivers will have to be on their game to avoid any wrecks.
Yeah, you hit that right on the head. And these guys, I think right now, they're really just trying to feel out exactly what these cars will do. Stout Whiskey right now just being very, very patient, holding it on back behind the 16. Track Bar still up there. He's got control of it. But here comes Fluffy looking to the inside. Stout's got the 42 to the outside. They are back side by side, 2 or 3 rows deep. It's like they just started.
It's a pace lap at 180 miles an hour, Pete. And there goes the 37 of Track Bar, wrecking the back one car, flying through the air. That is indeed the 37 of Track Bar. 3, 4 more cars being collected, Pete. That has to bring out caution number 1, and it does.
Yep, caution's out. These guys are going to woe it on up, and this will be their first time where they've got, about 35 seconds or so to make any kind of adjustments. You would imagine that they had a bit of a taste of what the draft was going to be like, whether you were up front and seeing that constant challenge either on your inside or your outside if you're Track Bar or the 42 of Big John, or you're in the middle of the pack or in the back of the pack where you're just trying to hang on, see what you got, and see if you're going to be able to make any kind of moves. With a draft like what you might find at Michigan, man, I think everybody's really just doing their best and biding their time to be there at the end. We're about to rack and stack them back up, go back under green. I'm up front right now with that 16 of Fluffy and the 42 of Big John and his inside. Coming to the restart zone here, Rick. All right, looks like up 42 of Big John's. He's going to get a pretty decent jump. 2 car Stout Whiskey down low with a little bit of help from the 17 right behind him. Coming off 1 and 2. A couple guys washing up just a little high. Not too bad all the way down the backstretch. Still side by side, several rows deep. Only 6 cars going to be that 4 car, and then behind him it's just another pack. So all these guys staying in the draft, doing what they got to do, being patient, only pushing when they gotta. They want to be there at the end.
42 leads that lap now. 30 laps left in stage number 1. 42, 16 to your top 3. Camaro, Mustang out of the second corner. And Pete, these drivers dipped their feet in the water, and it was some hot water indeed. The 37 of Track Bar all the way at the back of this one when the green flag flew for the restart. He took heavy damage, and that's a prime example of what these drivers are going to see if they can't lay off that gas. They're going to run up on each other far too quick, turn each other around in the wrong spot, and if it's at the front of this field as Fluffy gets under the 42 for the lead, it's going to be calamitous.
Yeah, Fluffy, I don't know how he got that great run to the inside of the 42, or why Big John didn't see that run coming, but he let Fluffy go on by, and the 16 was able to do that without any kind of a big push from Stout Whiskey right behind him. He did that all on his own, with just a great run off the 4.
28 laps to go now, and Fluffy getting a fantastic run out of the second corner, and that's a testament to the high draft setting. Now look at the 42 getting a big shove from the 94. That car is being piloted by Roy in that Sunoco Camry, second on the outside line. Fluffy on the inside line in the 16 being followed by Stout Whiskey in the 2, and then that 17 being piloted by Sterlo. 3-4 wide for position, and Fluffy goes to the lead.
Yeah, Fluffy the lead, pretty much unchallenged. Still got the 42 of Big John to his outside. The worth deuce of Stout Whiskey. Looks like he got a little loose there coming off the corner. Few more players now making their way up. Oh, I was just going to say, the one, 95 went hard into that outside wall, but he able to collect it back up. Didn't really collect anybody behind him, but it definitely caused some people to check up. A little bit of separation now between the leaders and this immediate pack right behind him.
Crash out of turn number 4, Pete. The 9 car was sent right down pit road. Doc Holliday was sent down pit road, as was the 8 car of Tom Flitty. He's now racing out of pit road, and that caution did stack those cars up. The 96 of Turbocharger is the car that went up into the wall. He's now entering turn number 3, and a couple of these guys, the 9 of Doc Holliday, the 8 of Tom, they have lost massive amounts of time trying to regain their composure. As Fluffy crosses the line, there's now, I believe, 27 laps to go in this first stage. The 42 of Big John will not give up the challenge.
Big John, again, I kind of mentioned when we were getting started, Big John has a very, very aggressive setup under him, not only in his gears, but as you can see, he can hold the lead up there by himself. Whoa, a little bit of contact there between Stout and the... Okay, that's looks like it's going to be a caution.
Big wreck in the back.
Yep, big wreck in the back, and it grabbed control of the cars. I thought Stout Whiskey was a little displeasure with the 95 of Jose and gave him a little bit of door music. Nope, it was the game grabbing control. Papa Bear, how you doing out there, buddy?
While we have a minute, I just want to bring attention to the ticker at the bottom. Fans, in the bottom left, that Chase Elliott diecast with the glowing lights is being given away in Pete's raffle to benefit morethancape.org. The proceeds are going to go to help children in the fight against pediatric cancer. 1 ticket for 5, 3 tickets for 10. Don't be stingy. Smash the 3 tickets button. Help those kids and get a chance to win that gorgeous race win diecast. Pete, we're going back to green. Track Bar's in the lead.
Yep, Track Bar to the lead. That 96 that we saw have an issue getting forced down pit road. He actually started to the outside. I'd be curious to see, because he was actually going down pit road when that caution came out. So that hugely benefited him because it didn't put him a lap down. But yet here he is on 4 brand new Eagle Feel Goods, up among some of the guys that have been around here all race long, except for Track Bar. He just definitely pulled some strategy. I'm guessing he stayed out. And going through 1 and 2, looks like that spin Ford Mustang of Fluffy back up front.
Fluffy back up front in that spin Mustang. He's got Roy in second in the Sunoco Camry. Stout Whiskey in third in that Vert Mustang. Now Big John in the 42 coming up behind Stout Whiskey. He's got Sterlo to the inside action in the back. Cars left and right, 4 wide, and they're wrecking out of the second corner down the Nellis straightaway.
Yeah, that took out everybody from like 8th on back. It just one car got spun, then the second one, then the next one, and it collected the whole field. So huge wreck. A lot of cars going to be taking it on down pit road, patching them up the best they can. Grab some brand new sticker tires, work their way on back out. But most of the people that were up front were able to avert that and see what we'll have to see what they do with let me see at the line. I missed the lap count, but yeah, see if they're all now in their fuel window or what.
I believe it's going to be right around 23, 22 laps to go when we take the green, Pete. For J-Paw fans, he was driving the number 22 Penske Mustang today. J-Paw has already retired from the race, so we have 34 competitors remaining, and we're going back to green, Pete, and it looks like the 37 of Track Bar, who started at the front the last restart around, now starts at the back. We have the 18 car of Rocky Top leading this race with Tom Tom in second.
Okay, so 18 and the 8 car of Tom Tom up front. Woo, a little bit of contact. I've decided I'm actually riding on board right now with the 42 of Big John. He's been so strong so far. I figured it'd be a good show for all y'all out there in chat, kind of keeping up with things to see just how fast or how what kind of maneuvering he'd have to do in order to work his way on back up to the top. And so far, he started about 12. Here he is, juking and jiving for every single position, and he's back into about P8 so far.
He's making his way through this field, Pete, but if you look to the front in that number 3 Bass Pro Camry as he takes the lead through turn number 3, J-Mac Attack now with a challenge of Rocky Top on the outside and the 18. It's a drag race down the front, 3 to the inside, 18 to the outside, across the line by an inch. The number 3 of J-Mac Attack. Great drag race to the line, Pete, and that is what the draft will do for you here. I'm expecting some fantastic last lap action. One thing I've noticed, Pete, that outside line is quickest because the draft is so great, and they're wrecking down the back 4, 5, 6 cars involved again, Pete, and there is the other side of the draft. As this caution comes out, the draft is so great because it allows you to just pull forward and suck right up to that car, but it also causes massive wrecks with these drivers unable to judge how long they have until they make that move to the outside.
Yeah, I was riding along with the 17 of Sterlo, looking ahead at that 18-3 and the 8 car of Tom Tom, and I saw several cars go nose first into the inside wall. Boy, if that was real, if this was a legit race at Vegas, we'd be talking to possibly some pretty hurt drivers. But thank God it's just all a game, and these guys trying to do the best they can to work through a huge pack. Again, 35 cars out here for Vegas. That's a tall task.
It's a tall task, but it's a task these drivers will have to manage. At the front, Roy in the 94 Sunoco Camry is your new leader for the first time today, and he is going to manage leading this field to the green, already trying to block the 14 underneath. And there's the draft in action, Pete. 94 of Roy to the inside, Fluffy to the outside in the 16, Stout Whiskey in the 2, second car in line on the outside, and there's the 41 of Toasted Gamers who's stuck on the outside wall. That's Kay Rainey in the 14 with the 9 of Doc Holliday who was outside. 3 wide for 4th place into turn number 3. Coming out of the 4th corner, it's Roy, Fluffy, Stout. The 3 of J-Mac is in the wall, and they're stacking up out of 4.
Yeah, stacking up, but that looks like they whoever went around off of some contact with the wall, looks like they were able to keep it green. 9 laps remaining here in stage number 1. Put that 94 in the win with the 16 of Fluffy, 2 cars, Stout Whiskey, and we're slowing back up again.
Another big wreck headed into turn 1, Pete. The 18 was involved, and he decided to take a flight through this Las Vegas sky. And I'm sorry, the green 18, not the Skittles 18 of Rocky Top. I'm trying to find what lime green car that was flying through. Oh, no, that must have been Ward Burton, that lime green car flying through the air. You can just see the damage on the front of that number 73 Camry. So we're under caution one more time, and Pete, this is going to be a furiously quick race with all these yellows coming out.
Yeah, I gotta agree. When they came to the line last time before the caution flew, I said 9 laps. With this, it's probably going to bring us down to about 06 to go. I'll try to get back up front as quick as I can to see who we're going to be racing it out with. And there you go. You got the 16 of Fluffy, 94 to the inside, 2-car of Stout Whiskey, and the 18 of Rocky Top. That's going to be your top 4. Coming to the filter time restart zone, 94 is hard on the throttle. 16 going to try just a little bit of side draft. Stout's going to give the 94 a big old push into 1 and 2, Rick.
It'll be 5 laps to go the next time they cross the line. Roy in first, Fluffy in second on the outside, but here comes Stout Whiskey and the 18 of Rocky Top. The draft doing its thing. Fluffy challenged on the inside, but just sucking up to the 94 and able to clear Stout Whiskey with the help of that high draft package that we have. Fluffy to the inside of the 94 with a little bit of love, and the caution comes out again. Pete, it'll be less than 4 to go when we restart the end of stage number 1.
Yeah, I would imagine that, Fry Dog and Dohar and everybody else, any other admins that they've got, I'm not quite sure who it is, but saying the same thing that Rock NASCAR just put out there in chat. Settle down, drivers. Get up here, get some flag racing. They're not going to be able to get to it, here in the remaining laps of stage 1. But when stage 2 starts, I'd like to, get back, get some very long runs going, see if we can't get a green flag stopping, let them get even further separated, and then really put your car to the test with the draft package that's in place tonight.
Already in stage number 1, it's been a fast learning experience for these drivers. Fluffy on the outside, Roy to the inside, and we're restarting once again. We'll see if they can finish stage 1 under green. Back to racing, Pete. 94, 16, 218, your top 4. Camry, Mustang, Camry, and then that Camaro of Big John rounding out the top 5. Here comes the 19 Sirius car and the 9 of Doc Holliday. Pete, they're already at it again.
Yeah, you saw the 18, the 16 rather of Fluffy, and the 19 make a little bit of contact. Then there's the 42 kind of tail grabbing the 18 just a little bit, coming across the line. This should be 1 lap remaining. So are we going to finish it under caution? Are we going to finish it under race? Right now, 94's got that thing in the wind. Big John's trying to hunt him down with a little bit of help from the 2 behind these guys that are fighting it out for the lead. They're 3 wide. Going into 3 here, Rick.
Wreck out of the backstretch. We'll see if they finish this one under the green flag. Big John in the lead with the 94 of Roy right behind him, racing out of the 4th corner, and the caution comes out. That's going to end stage number 1, and Roy getting the stage win in that 94 ahead of Big John. At least that's what the scoring table says. I thought the 42 was ahead at the time, Pete, but that's gonna do it for stage number 1. Roy is your winner. Big John in second. We finish under caution.
Yep, you called it. You got Track Bar, Stout Whiskey, Rocky Top, Tack, Doc Holliday, Tom Tom, Asylums, and Fluffy to round out your top 10. Again, we saw the power of this 42 really making a charge for the lead, but Roy able to hold it off. Not sure if it was by the luck of the caution god or if he actually would have had it at the line. But either way, pretty tense battle to call stage 1.
A super tense battle to call stage 1, and the green flag flies for stage number 2. We are racing once again at the Filter Time eSpark Round 3 at Vegas. NCAR Racing leads us to the green. The 42 of Big John in second, Stout Whiskey in third in the 2, and you have Roy in 4th, Track Bar rounding out the top 5.
Yes, I originally started back out with Track Bar, and look at the power that this 42 is laying down yet again. Able to get on under, and car's going to pave the way for the 2-car of Stout Whiskey. Looks like 37 of Track Bar. He wants a little bit. Stout opened the hole. Track Bar wants to fill it as well. We're going to battle it out here for P2 going into 1.
Battling it out for second place, coming out of the second corner, 42, 24, 2 wide, and I believe that was Jay Grant in the chat saying just no give and take. So far in these first 2 laps, there's been a lot of give and take, and now it looks like the 37 is trying to take from the 24, who's giving that second position and possibly third to the rest of his competitors. Contact out of the 4th corner. Now they cross the line, the 42 of Big John leading this race, and they make it through 2 consecutive laps unharmed.
Yeah, 42 still leading, like you just said. 37 a track bar, able to work his way from about P6 on the restart to battle that 42. Maybe try a little bit of a side draft here. Pull the two-car Stout Whiskey up. Here comes the 94 and additional company. Side by side, coming off of 4, coming to the line, as you said, all under green so far to start stage number 2. Long train behind them.
Huge train behind him. Now the 37 of Track Bar jumps into the lead. He's got the 24 of NCAR Racing still in tow, but now Big John on the outside, Stout Whiskey on the inside, and here's the challenge for first place. They're getting antsy and they're getting impatient. Stout Whiskey to the inside of the 42 trying to mount a challenge for the 37, but he's going to get the draft through turn 3, out of turn 4. Let's see how Stout handles this. Here's the move for first place.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the way that Stout was pulling back up the to the bumper of the 37, it looked like it was the way that you would set up a car to about that, oh man, I can't talk right now. I'm so excited watching this. The way that you would try to set up a car at either Daytona or Talladega, where you'd want to try to pull that slingshot move off the corner. That's what Stout looked like he was going to do. But as these guys were going back and forth, the 42 just thread the needle, got up in front of the two challenging the 37. The 42 is going to have the lead coming to the line.
Big John, your new leader at Las Vegas in the number 42 Credit 1 Camaro. Stout Whiskey in the Vert Mustang in second place. That's Scott Towell's Camaro being driven by Track Bar now in second place, taking when then the caution just came out, I was going to say Track Bar was in third, Stout Whiskey now in third, NCAR Racing in fourth. Yellow comes out for the first time in stage 2. Pete will have less than 30 to go when we take the green.
Yeah, and I think that, what was that, 5 or 6, maybe 7 laps right there. I think these guys will now get a little bit more of a feel as to what they've got under them. When you're practicing, most of the time you're by yourself. You're really just building it for speed, unless you make a long run. But I don't know if anybody really anticipated the draft package. So I think they might have just got a real feel of what what their car may be able to handle under that 6 or 7 car sprint, or 6 or 7 lap sprint, I should say.
Absolutely, Pete. This is brand new for these drivers. They've never experienced this before, so they have to give and take. To quote Jake Grant in the comments one more time, and he says, yes, they've figured it out, and it looks like they have. This is a much more tame stage than we saw in stage number 1. As they take the green flag, Pete, there's 29 laps remaining. Big shout out to Q-Dogs, Yotes King, Papa Bear in the chat. Get on your phones, your computers, your tablets. Tell your friends. The address is twitch.tv/repeat1975. Don't miss a lap. Big John in the lead. Track Bar making the move for first place. They're coming to you down the front stretch.
Yeah, coming on all the way across 37. He was on the wall coming off of 4. Dove it on down underneath the 42, guessing with a little bit of a pull there from that Credit 1 Camaro. But here comes the 2 of Stout Whiskey. He's been up front all night long, as like you just mentioned, Q-Dog out there with a big old shout for Stout. But looks like top 4 all nose to tail. Here comes the 17 as well. Behind them, they are side by side, almost 3 and 4 rows deep, coming off the corner.
Out of the corner, it's 37, 42, 294, your top 4, 2 Mustangs, a Ford, and a Toyota. Here comes the 17 of Sterlo to join that Mustang party at the front of this race. 27 laps to go. The 42 trying the crossover, but just not enough room. He's got support from the 94 on the outside. Track Bar's in trouble. 37 down to the inside line. He's got Stout Whiskey behind him. The 17 of Sterlo doesn't know who to go with. 26 laps to go this time by, Pete.
Yeah, 42 has a head of steam with a big push from the 94. Little bit of contact there between that 42 and the 237. Still able to keep all these guys in his rear view. And one more thing that they're seeing ahead is that yellow flag waving from the flag stand.
Yellow's not only going to be the color on the walls, the color on that big bright Pennzoil sign that decorates all 4 corners of Las Vegas and the Nellis straightaway. It has been the color we've seen most tonight, Peter, and what an action-packed race it's been. Although I hope Stage 2 doesn't devolve into that chaos we saw in stage number 1. Fans, take a look at that bottom ticker. Take a look at that Chase Elliott diecast. If you want a chance to win that diecast and help children in the fight against pediatric cancer, Pete's got the link for you in the chat. It's 1 ticket for $5 or 3 tickets for $10. It's just $10 and you help some kids fighting cancer. Everybody wins. Pete, we're going back to green.
Back to green. We got a new player up in the front. Looks like actually the 19's going to pull on down. Guessing he forgot to pit. Something stacked everybody up in the back. Saw a few cars going through the grass. One car that's not going through the grass. He's holding it up high, wide, and handsome, just like old Harry Gant is 37 a track bar. Big push from Stout all the way down that backstretch. Here comes Big John. He's got a little bit of help from the 94. Both of them now side by side for the lead, coming off 3 and 4.
Out of the fourth corner, it's a drag race between the 37 and the 42. And Pete, it looks like a pace lap once again, 2 by 2, 12 rows deep between all of these drivers. 42 car to the lead, but Track Bar doesn't give up the fight in that Scott's Camaro. Roy in the 94, Rybred in the 20. First time he's been in the top 5 today. And they're still flying down this backstretch with that high draft package dictating every move they make.
Yeah, not quite sure what happened there between the 42 and the 2. 42 moved up. All of a sudden, you saw the 2-car Stout Whiskey make a little bit of contact with the wall. He bounced off pretty quick. Don't think it caused any real damage, but he's going to pull it to the inside of the 42. Get a great pull off of the 37. Going to bring him up to P2. 42 back to P3. 94 of Roy, as you said, back to P4. So couple positions being shuffled around. One constant, though, that 37.
Blackjack, 21 laps to go, and Track Bar now crosses the line to make it an even 2-0 laps left in stage number 2. Car number 2 in position number 2. Stout Whiskey now pursuing that 37 of Track Bar through the first corner. The 42 of Big John with help from the 94 of Roy. He's going to get a great run down this backstretch, and they're coming to you in turn 3, Pete.
Yeah, 37 leading the way. Still no change up front. 2-car Stout Whiskey right now, as you said, in that 2-car running P2. Maybe if he can come up doubles here in Las Vegas, any number but Snake Eyes, I think Stout will be happy. Coming off into 1 and 2.
Into the first corner, it's 37, 2, 42, your top 3 now on the inside line. Roy Air in the 94 to the outside, Sterlo to his inside in the 17, out of turn number 2. Rybred in the 20, now joining this fight, and here comes the 4 of Rabbit into that Bush Apple Mustang, now to the inside line as well. 37 still leading out of the fourth corner with Stout Whiskey in tow, and Big John to the inside in the 42. The draft will be massive here. 19 laps to go, they're yours in the first corner, Pete.
Yeah, I tell you what, the more
Sterlo's
these guys
around
back,
in 1.
Yep, I was going to say the same thing. Saw the 17 go sliding around, but I think he's off the track far enough to where we won't see the caution way out of the way. One thing that's going to happen, though, with all these, and there's that caution. One thing that's going to happen, though, or would have happened, is as these guys were battling it out more and more for about 5th, 6th, and 7th, that was starting to pull that second pack led by the 95 of Jose right back into the frame. I think that's what brought the 20 up. That's what was bringing the 42 back into frame, the 4-car, and other drivers as well. But what would have been, who knows? We'll have to see where we go from here, though.
It's going to be 15 laps remaining in stage number 2 when we take this green flag, Pete. So far, your points leader, Stout Whiskey, doing a great job hanging around in that top 10, not getting too aggressive. He understands he has a lot to lose with a poor performance today. Ward Burton, who needs a good performance hanging around in the top 5. He's been biding his time at the back, and he's been involved in a couple accidents, so we're expecting more out of him. But as we go back to green, the 37 leads, Oreo Roy on the outside in the 94, Stout Whiskey in 3rd, Big John 4, Rybred in the number 20, DeWalt Camry rounds out the top 5. Pete, they're yours in 2.
Yeah, coming off of 2. A little bit of an issue on the exit there, but they were able to hold on. You definitely saw the 37 get up and get through the gears really fast. Here comes the 2 with a little bit of a push from that 42, but Stout decided to back it up. didn't want to be on the left rear quarter panel of that 37 as he was coming down to paint that white line. One lap back under green since the caution. Everybody's still maybe starting to play it a little bit easier right now.
They're certainly playing it a little nicer than they need to, Pete. Now 69 laps left in this event, and these drivers need to be nice to each other with so much on this line, Pete. They have a lot to fight for and a lot to lose. There's now 14, I believe, 13 laps remaining in this second stage.
You called it exactly right. Unlucky 13 to say the least. But right now, the 37's got that Mustang in the wind. 2-car, 42 car, 94. The 4-car starting to show his presence or make his presence known. Still, everybody chasing the same suspects in the front lap after lap as they are actually starting to get pretty spread out. Going back into 1 and 2 here, bud.
Absolutely, Pete. They're starting to spread out, and they're finally single file, so it looks like the patience has spread in. Track Bar leading, Stout in second, Big John in third. Now a dozen to go. It'll be hockey sticks at the line, 11 laps left. Roy in the 94 peeking to the inside, but these drivers have had plenty of cautions to make sure they have tires and fuel to...
Yeah, it's the aggression factor, Pete. One of my favorite A words that really...
Yeah, the aggression, they've had that all through stage 1 and stage 2. I figured it might be time to back it down. Maybe everybody was just a little nervous about what this aero package was going to be like. Maybe they didn't know just how hard they were going to be able to hit somebody when they got a great pull coming up behind them. Talk about a car coming up from behind. Here comes that 4-car Rabbit. He's got a great big tug off that 2, coming off 3 and 4, coming to the start stripe. Rick, the 37 still got the lead for you.
Absolutely, Pete. 37 still leads this race. Another lap takes off, and now they're 3 wide for position out of the second corner, Pete. They are after these stage points with 10 laps to go.
Yeah, 10 very, very short laps from what we've seen so far, but still able to really start to thin out the pack. You've got a pretty decent sized pack up front, then you've got a middle pack, then you've got a pack a little bit further in the back. Looks like the 20 car got a little loose there underneath the 94. Everybody on that white line all the way through 1 and 2. Couple cars up high, including the 18 of Rocky Top. He's worked his way back up into this lead pack, still running the 4-car.
Pete, they are just absolutely crazy. These guys are trying to stay off of each other. There's a pack of about 9 cars in the back of this race that cannot give each other any space, and there is a caution brewing towards the back of this one. Now 8 laps to go, and they are really getting dicey.
Yeah, very dicey. You see the 42 ducking and diving. You see the 37 trying to protect every line that he can. 4-car of Catch the Rabbit. He's all the way down at the bottom as well. 42 and 2, a little bit of contact. Stout kind of slightly touched the wall, not too bad. Maybe just a little bit of a lucky shot. We'll call it that since we're here at Vegas. But about the first 7 to 10 cars now all single file.
Single file.
Continuing to make circles.
Track Bar
leading this one, Big John in second, Rabbit in third. He's calmly made his way up through this field. The top 5 separated by half a second.
7 laps left at Vegas, Pete. They're single file, but don't let that mistake that these drivers aren't hungry to take the position away from each other.
Yeah, not only hunger is the purpose here, but we were talking about Stout Whiskey and his team in the beginning, and right now, Track Bar that's part of Stout Motorsports. He's had the lead here for quite a while. So you got Big John sitting P2, Rabbit P3, Stout Whiskey P4, and Asylum's the first time we've talked about him. He's made his way up to P5, going down the backstretch.
Down the backstretch, that 42 of Big John is starting to knock on the door. He's now made a run to the outside, looking towards the front of this one. Track Bar knows the pressure is there, but can he hang on to her? The laps tick down one more time. Here comes Big John to the inside, making the move into 1. New leader, car 42.
Yeah, 42. You got to kind of wonder whether he's just been biding his time. We saw at the start of this race, Big John was able to motivate around the outside of that 37 on the initial start. Now he's got the 37 to his outside, so Big John should have the preferred line, and he's got help right behind. 42 looks like he's gonna have it. 37 is gonna try to crimp his style a little bit, but looks like we have four laps remaining.
4 laps remaining, 42 leading this one, the 37 of Track Bar right behind him, Stout Whiskey in the 2, then you have Rabbit in the 4. These 4 cars have a legitimate chance to win. 37 dives to the inside using that high draft package, clears the 42, but he sails back up the racetrack with poor momentum into the corner. He cuts off the run from the 2 of Stout Whiskey. The 42 hits the wall, and now he's in the wall at a 4. 42's around down the front stretch with 3 laps to go. He gets collected. Cars flying through the air down that front stretch. 42 is flying. The 94 of Roy's flying in the air. 42 one more time. Caution will surely come out as the 42 of Big John continues to be kicked down the front stretch. He will end the stage in 17th place, and that will do it for stage number 2. What a way to end that stage.
Yeah, he went from first to almost worst, as Grant out there in chat saying very tough for the 42. Absolutely, I was looking backwards from the 2 cars, Stout Whiskey, and saw the 42 get just sent straight off. I mean, I don't know how many cars he bounced off of, but he absolutely barrel rolled over and over all the way through the grass. And man, we'll have to see if that 42 is going to be strong enough to pull his way back up, as we're about ready to stack him back up.
We're going to stack him back up and send him loose for the third stage of competition. Round 3 Cup Series is going back to green with the 42 of Big John in the lead.
Yeah, that's kind of something that's why I was laughing. I was like, yeah, how often do you see a guy, tumbling and cartwheeling and flipping end over end? Oh, here he is, right back in the lead again. Oh, but
run one more time, but now shuffled to the back. That 30-foot of Track Bar has the lead down the front stretch with a close Stout Whiskey in tow. Captain in third, and they're wrecking in turn number 3.
Yeah, it looked like the 42 of Big John could not get out of the way fast enough, as he's continuing to slide backwards, coming off of 3 and 4 rather. But yeah, Track Bar is going to bring them all back down to pace speed. I think I don't think anybody will really have to pit here, but definitely going to have to get back to minding their P's and Q's, see if we can't get back to the ending that we had in stage 2.
We'll see what happens now. The drivers have a lot more to play for and to wreck for, quite literally. Stage points are no longer on the line, Pete. From here on out, the finishing position is going to be the big points collection of the day. We're going back to green. Not a lot of these drivers are pitting. Track position is going to be very important for these drivers.
Absolutely, Furball. Thank you very much for the follow there. 37 to Track Bar in the lead. 2 car Stout Whiskey. 2 is outside. There's the 4 car of Rabbit, and then the 22 is outside. So that's your top 4. Again, Track Bar getting up and through the gears, but the old Stout Whiskey, he's got that same shifter. He's able to pull right in front of that 37. Looks like he might have missed a gear, kind of bottlenecked that bottom line just a little bit, and Stout's got a little bit of breathing room right now.
A little bit of breathing room, but it's going to make him a sitting duck out of the first corner. A little bit of lag headed into turn number 3. Track Bar gets launched from the 96 of Turbocharger. Here comes that 37 latched onto the back of that number 2 Vert Mustang, crossing the line to 37 for your top 3 at Las Vegas.
Yeah, starting to see a little bit of instability in the lobby. Hopefully it doesn't get too bad from what we've seen. Definitely some lag from people that don't generally we don't generally see any lag of. Specifically, that 2 and the 4 kind of rubber banding a little bit. Same thing now with the 37, but so far, maybe who knows? Maybe that's what they needed to stay off each other instead of really being super aggressive. If they see the car going back and forth, give them a little bit of gap, and then once you see everybody kind of stabilize again, that's where you start to attack.
Stable once again, Pete. 49 laps remaining in this filter time third round race at Las Vegas. Track Bar in the lead, Stout Whiskey in second. He's got the number 4 of Rabbit in third, and his baloney has a first name. It's OSCAR. His baloney has a second name in that number 6 Wienermobile, now in fourth place. That's Asylums joining the top 5 for the first time today.
Yeah, Asylums. He was pretty far up a little bit ago. Lost some track position, but here he is showing that he was no fluke to be picked up in the Pro League a little bit later in the season. Right now, running P4. These top 4 are starting to gain some distance on the rest of the pack behind them.
The talent and the cream is rising to the top. They're fighting for third place. That one Camaro of Track Bar leading with 4 Mustangs behind him, actually. The 16 of Fluffy marks the 4th Mustang in the top 5. That 12 car right behind Fluffy, another Penske machine being driven by Leafs Justin, makes 5 Mustangs in the top 6. So far, it's a good stage number 3 for Ford.
Yeah, kind of checking back in now with this 42. Little bit of lag here, but not too bad. Kind of shaking that credit one machine back and forth a little bit, making sure he gets that logo in the air, gets it out there, but still trying to make up all those positions that he lost in that tumble all the way down the front stretch not too long ago. But back up now to that 4 car of Rabbit. Still has Asylum behind him. Looks like they've maintained that gap back to the main pack behind this top 4. Cross the line one more time here, going into 1 and 2, Rick.
Coming out of the second corner, it's still 37-6. It's now 45 laps to go at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 37 leading this race. Stout Whiskey right behind him, but again, patience is the name of the game, Pete. These drivers are just maintaining speed, and it looks like they're using the high draft package to their advantage, staying single line, trying to break away from this secondary pack.
Yeah, it really does. Jay Grant out there in chat, if you're looking to try to get into eSpark, their Twitter handle is on the bottom. It's the second one in eSpark series. Either Dohar or one of the admins will get back out to you. If you don't have Twitter, look them up on Facebook, and yes, somebody will definitely get back to you. They run all 3 series, Truck, Xfinity, and Cup. Maybe we'll be talking about you one night soon.
Now on the 92nd lap of competition, the 37 still leads with the 3-car menagerie of Stout Whiskey. Rabbit in the 4, Asylums in the 6, who you see wiggles out of turn number 2. Pete, I'm also curious at what this high draft package is going to do for these tires. The cars will be moving at higher speeds. They'll be turning these cars with greater force on the wheel because the draft is stronger. That, combined with this long green flag run, could mean pit strategy before the end of the race.
Yeah, that was actually something that I checked in with Big John about before the race kicked off. I asked him, with this high draft, did it mean anything for your tires? Obviously, you're turning into the corner just a little bit better. At the higher speeds, you're burning more fuel. He said that he was able to preserve his right rear just enough to make it to about lap 19 or lap 20, and that was about all he could do with the fuel. Tires could have been an issue if he had to push it any further, depending on how much time he spent off the throttle in the middle of a pack. But with the getting spread out now, I don't know what he'd have.
We'll see what happens now. It's going to be 40 laps to go when they cross that line. The 37 of Track Bar still leading this race. The 5 of Moordog slow on the apron of 3 and 4. And Pete, this is going to answer our pit road questions. The 5's around in the 4th corner. Been collected by a couple of cars who's now in the fence. And that looks like the 51 who's gone around. So there's a wreck in the 4th corner. We're still green so far. And now the caution comes out at Las Vegas.
Yeah, caution came out. I originally started, following to see where the 42 was going to be since he's been up front all night long. He started way in the back, almost 30th place in that run. He worked his way back up to P13. So great job by Big John, and great job by that top 4 to really maintain the distance that they had between them and the pack. Although the pack, they were getting racy. The front four, they were all nose to tail and only able to maintain, not really pulling away.
Definitely strategy at play there, Pete. They're just trying to pull away as much as they can, but with that high draft package installed on these cars, there's only so much they can do. Not a lot of pulling away, but again, if they can maintain the gap, when it comes to the nitty-gritty, they'll be there to race each other, not the remaining 30 competitors behind them. We're going back to green with the 37 of Track Bar leading this race.
Yeah, 37 of Track Bar will have will be the control car. He's got two cars, Stout Whiskey, to the outside behind Track Bar. I think that's good. Is that going to be the? I thought that was going to be the 88 of Dohart. No, it's going to be the 6 car with the 21 to his outside. A little bit of contact there between Rabbit and the 12. Looks like the first. Looks like Stout got out to the same jump that he got last time we went back green, so we'll have to see if him and the 37 have the same kind of show. But behind these guys, it is a virtual hornet's nest.
Now on lap 99 of competition, Stout Whiskey leading in the 2, Track Bar in the 37 right behind him, and 32 more cars looking to take the spot away from them. Mustang, Camaro, top 1, top 2. Vert up front, Scott Towels in second, and as the caution comes out, the Spin Mustang of Freddie is in third.
Yeah, Freddie 2K working his way in. Rabbit right behind him. Then you got the 6 machine as well as the 12. So a couple of Mustangs, nose to tail. But right now it's all about a Camaro, Mustang, and a Toyota. So a little bit of parity up front. We'll have to see how this plays out, or if these guys can get that jump and pull back away again.
We'll have to see how they behave, Pete. Certainly how they perform in these closing laps. Again, I go back to this. It's only round 3 in the Filter Time Cup Series, but that is no excuse to lay off if you're at the front or if you're at the back. With this new draft package that's so uncertain in these closing laps, every lap matters. Back to green, 237 leading this race.
Yeah, now the 2 car is going to be the control car, 37 of Track Bar to the outside. 21's going to try to look to the inside. He's got the 6 to his outside. Looks like Track Bar is able to keep up with the 2 this time, going through 1 and 2. Behind them, that ever enormous pack just trailing along. Everybody getting off of 2 down the backstretch. Clean so far.
Super clean coming out of turn number 4. Track Bar to the inside. Stout Whiskey to his outside. Coming across this line. Still drag racing and at the line. Track Bar just beats Stout Whiskey in that Scott Mustang. Fluffy in the 21 to the outside, and there's a big crash. Track Bar went high. Thought he had him cleared. Back down into turn number 1. 2, 3, 4 cars around. Sailing through that Las Vegas sky, and the caution comes out for the 3rd time in stage 3. It'll be less than 30 to go when we restart, Pete.
Yeah, and if we thought that the intensity was there between 1 and 2 until the end of 2, kind of laid back a little bit. Now I think it's going to be out the window. Dohart needs to get on the guys, say, hey, let's run this out. Let's get back to a green flag pit stop to finish it up. I'd like to see the race, although I'll tell you what, if that was the end of the race right there between the 37 and the 2, that would have been a phenomenal photo finish.
Pete, it is every fan's dream to watch a photo finish, and that is what we're shaping up to have. So hopefully the racing continues its high quality of professionalism, and we see a little more patience for the remainder of this race. Back to green, Pete, at the front of this one. It's the 4 of Catch the Rabbit leading to his outside in one of the Spin Mustangs. I thought it was Fluffy, but it's Slade in the identically colored 21 Spin Mustang to the outside. NCAR Racing in 3rd in the 24. Big John in 4th in the 42. Jose rounding out the top 5 in that 95 out of the 2nd corner and down the straight to you, Pete.
Yeah, we've definitely seen what that 42's been able to do. I hate to sound a little biased, but, man, the guy has had a rocket ship all night long. He's been everywhere around this track. He's been in the front. He's been in the back. He's been in the air. He's been on his hood. And here he is, right back in the mix of it, coming into 1 and 2. First lap is still green. 24 trying the Rabbit on the outside.
Rabbit trying on the outside with a little bit of contact from the 24 of NCAR Racing. Now Slade up his rear trumpet into the third corner. Big John, that blue 42, credit 1 on the inside, trying to get around Rabbit in that red 4 out of turn number 4. And now here comes Fluffy in that blue spoilered spin Mustang to the inside. It's Slade in the green spoilered spin Mustang with the orange rear end, the reverse colors of Fluffy in the 16. There you see them almost side by side to differentiate. Again, the white car Slade, the orange car Fluffy. Out of the second corner and into the third corner, Rabbit still leading this race. Big John in the 42 trying to challenge for the lead, Pete.
Yeah, Big John able to work underneath that 24. He's got a little bit of help from Slade right behind him. 95 of Jose, as well as the other spin car, as you said, of Fluffy. So all the way through, the 4 car has the lead. He's got that clean air. Everybody behind him has a huge pull or a huge push from the car either right in front of or right behind them. Again, this draft pack is new to everybody. It's the first test of the new update, and so far I don't know if it's just the amount of cars that are on track to where they can't stay off each other, but they've definitely had their hands full as Big John came across the line right there. 25 laps remaining.
25 laps to go, and there's going to be some lap traffic, Pete. 2 cars got tangled around on the inside wall of the Nellis straightaway and spun headed into turn number 3. The leaders are also getting a little bit too dicey with a little bit of music from each other's doors. That sweet aluminum music at 200 miles an hour through these corners sounds like aggression. The 4 of Rabbit leading the 42 of Big John in second, Track Bar in third in that 37 car. Now 24 laps remaining at Vegas.
Yeah, 24 laps remaining, 21 ducking down underneath that 24. Here comes the 37. You're going to try to catch the draft of that Ford. Ford might try to break it going down the straightaway. 42 now all over the back of the 37. Here's the 21. He's got the draft as well. Here comes the 95 of Jose to round out your top 5.
Rounding out the top 5 is Jose at the front. It's still Rabbit in the 4. Big John's been sent back to second place. And now the 37 of Track Bar trying to make a move for the lead. But there's a wreck down the front, Pete. The one's been involved. I believe another one of those Camrys was involved. And we're still green so far. More dog's been put on his lid. And now the cautions come out at Vegas. No, we're still green, Pete.
Yep, still green as Track Bar looks underneath the 4 of Rabbit. Rabbit out there saying everybody's got to catch the Rabbit. And you better hope that it's not Rabbit season. Here comes the 42 to stick with the 37. And it looks like that 4 is going to be stuck to the outside. They'll have the preferred line going into 1. 37 pulled up to cut the nose of that 4. Maybe take a little bit of his air away. 4 is going to slap that wall. 21 of Slade is going to duck to make sure he doesn't get collected. All green.
37, 42, your top 2, and then Slade in that 16. I'm sorry, that looks to be, yeah, that is Slade in the white spin car. He is in the 21 machine, now in third place. Blackjack, 21 laps to go. Track Bar leading. Big John in second. Slade in the 21, rounding out the top 3 in these final 21 filter time laps at Vegas. Down the Nellis straightaway and into turn 3. They're all yours, Pete.
Yeah, it seems like the first 3 have a pretty even gap between them, rather. 37 of Track Bar, 42 of Big John. Looking ahead now from the 21 of Slade, coming to the line yet again. As it looks like, as before, whether you've got a straight line, 3 or 4 cars, these 3 starting to pull away from the pack as they continue to race side by side. All you, Rick, getting to the backstretch.
Down the Nellis straightaway one more time. 37, 42, 21 leading. Scott Towels, Credit 1, Bank, and Spin. Your top 3, Camaro, Mustang. It'll be 19 laps to go when they cross the line this time by. If the caution doesn't come out soon, green flag pit stops will be a necessity. And there's a wreck out of 4. The 4 Busch Apple light car has gone around. Huge wreck down that grass. This has to bring out the yellow flag. The curse of the commentator strikes once again. It's 19 laps to go, Pete.
Yeah, 19 to go. I saw the 4 make a little bit of contact. He bounced off the wall. Looks like he was just going to be able to spin up top by himself. He kind of caught the end, shoved him back down track, collected almost the entire back half of the field. Nobody really able to avoid him, and when we take this back green, we should have about 17 laps remaining. So So, Rick, if you're standing on 17 at a blackjack table, are you staying or are you going to take that hit?
A hard 17 or a soft 17, Pete?
We'll call that ace of one.
The table says you stand on it. You stand on a firm 17. So we'll see. I guess that depends on each of these drivers, but they have to have that internal conversation with themselves and say, crew chief, what do I do? And they answer themselves with whatever strategy they like. The strategy the track bar took looks like fuel and minimal tires. Back to green at Vegas, 37 of Track Bar leading this race, the 42 of Big John in second, and they're already scrambling for position, Pete. It is 16 filter time laps remaining.
Yeah, not quite sure. So the 48 and a couple others really duck on down pretty quick. Don't know if they, missed a shift or didn't pit or something. But 37, as you mentioned, still in the lead. 42 of Big John right behind him. There's the two-car Stout Whiskey back up into top three with some additional company right behind him. Coming past the start stripe, rather, and with a lap count of 15 laps remaining, we'll have to see if 37 has what it takes to hold these guys off, but it is hungry that everybody behind him really rearing to go.
It'll be 14 laps this time across the line, and these drivers may not need to gamble on fuel or tires if they made the right call. Fans at home, you don't need to gamble either. Click the link in the chat and enter this raffle to win that gorgeous Chase Elliott car on the inside. There's a wreck down the front stretch. The 43 has gone around, and there's cars piling up behind him, Pete. Caution's out again.
Yep, there's that caution. So that was with 14, so we should probably take the green with about 12 to go. Somebody out there in chat wanted to know if this was presets or setups. This is probably the premier setup community that's available on Heat 5 through the Xbox console. If you're interested, again, look up eSpark Series on Twitter or look them up on Facebook. They're always interested in building their community. If you've got what it takes, you'll be among the best in setups here.
Fans, $10 will earn you 3 tickets for that gorgeous Chase Elliott diecast in the bottom left-hand corner. More importantly, it will help save a child's life. At morethancape.org, you can find all the information you need to help children fight against pediatric cancer, and your $10 could get you that gorgeous lit, and I mean literally lit diecast from Chase Elliott's Bristol win. Green flag is in the air, Pete. 37 of Track Bar leads, 42 of Big John close behind.
Yeah, your top three the same exact as it was before that caution came out. 37 Track Bar, 42 Big John, two-car Stout Whiskey. 42 gave the 37 a little bit of bumper music. 42 is going to try to look to the outside. 37 down low. We've seen Big John out here before, and he's able to motor his way on by. Now that he's got some help coming to the line, as we've been back under green now a lap or two. Two cars got a little bit of help to the 37. They're side by side for P2.
They're 3 wide for P2 out of turn number 2. Now 10 laps remaining in single digits the next time they cross the line. 37 of Track Bar leading this race. The 2 of Stout Whiskey on the inside. The 42 of Big John on the outside. Slade in the 21 waiting to pounce. Here comes Fluffy in the 16. The opposite liveried Mustang now trying to break his way into the top 5. 9 laps left, and they're yours in turn 1, Pete.
Yeah, 37 still up here. Two-car Stout Whiskey, 42 side-by-side for P2. Here's the 2 spin cars. They are now side-by-side for P3 and 4. And additional company is coming. Here's the 17. I believe that's going to be Sterlo with the 12 to his outside. All the way down this backstretch, going into 3.
Through the third corner on that bottom line, glued to that white line. Not even a Scott paper towel could wipe him off the inside. Track Bar leading this race with 8 laps to go. Stout Whiskey in second in the number 2 Vert Mustang. Slade in the white and orange, 21 in third. Fluffy in the orange and white, 16 in fourth. Big John rounds out the top 5 in that blue 42 Credit 1 Mustang. Down the Nellis straightaway, 7.5 to go. 32, 2, 21, and there's a move for position.
Yeah, it looks like the two-car Stout Whiskey was able to get a really good run to the inside, but just as he thought he had it, that orange spin machine was able to pull to that inside and block his advance. Everybody now running down the 37 to track bar. He's got a pretty good hold on the field, keeps going from the high side back down to the low, from the low back up high, wherever he sees the run with this draft package coming, and he's able to maintain that first position.
Just like the great champions before him into turn number 3, Track Bar has adapted to the new rules best, and he has made them his own. Watching that draft, doing some excellent mirror drafting, and the blocks of his life to take the money and run at Vegas. 37, 16 to your top 3, a Camaro and 2 Mustangs, but he leaves the inside open. Now here comes the 16 of Fluffy with less than 6 laps remaining. Drag race down the Nellis straightaway and over to you in 3, Pete.
Yeah, Fluffy didn't have any help. It was all up top with the 2 of Stout. And there comes the 21 of Slade, 42 of Big John are now side by side. 12 cars trying to peek his way into the picture. Top 3 all nose to tail coming to the start stripe. Everybody heading into 1 and 2. We're still green here, Rick.
5 laps to go, and the nose-to-tail drafting is getting even more intense. Track Bar making his car work on the high side like no one else has done before him. Fluffy trying to gain momentum in the 16, but he just doesn't have the speed. A little bit of a lag spike. Here comes the 2 of Stout Whiskey to the inside of the 16 behind the 37 of Track Bar. It'll be 4 laps to go this time by. Out of the 4th corner, 37, 2, 16.
Yeah, 37 still has these guys at bay. 16 and the 2 were side by side, but 16 able to pull right ahead of Stout. Going into 1 and 2, looking to see if anybody's going to be able to duck all the way down to that white line and paint it. Looks like the 37 either is missing that mark or he's starting to get tight. Not quite sure when the last time was that he pit, but it looks like the 16 of Fluffy, the 2 of Stout, and this other 12 now up top fighting for the top 4 coming off 4.
37 has to be on old tires, Pete. He came in during the last caution and stayed out as the leader, so he certainly took fuel and limited tires, if any at all. It's been a fantastic drive hanging onto that loose race car so far, but look at the furious competition behind him. The 16 of Fluffy, the 2 of Stout Whiskey, the 21 of Slade, and the 12 of Leafs Justin, one of the few international drivers in this field. They are all gunning for that Scott Towles Camaro at the front, Pete. Just less than 3 to go. I believe it's either 3 or 2 to go this time by for car number 37.
Yeah, 37's trying to hold them off with 2 laps remaining. Still that 16 right there sitting in P2. 2-car Stout Whiskey. Looks like he got a little tight, washed up, almost made some slight wall contact with the wall. In fact, he actually does, sends a couple cars around. 1 car all over the hood of the 3. And I think this is it's going to be a caution. So, Rick, we're going to come back to a green-white checker. Rock NASCAR was out there in chat saying this is going to get intense. Well, this will be intense.
This is going to be intense, Pete. Track Bar was 1 corner away from winning this race through the caution. Now he's got to hang on for 2 more laps of worn tires. The Cup race is over, ladies and gentlemen. Now is the time to get everybody to watch this filter time finish. It'll be a green-white checker, and the address is twitch.tv/repeat 1975. Twitch.tv repeat 1975. We're going to have 2 more laps of action.
I tell you what, if what I'm seeing right now is correct, everybody but about the 4th and 5th car in the pack actually just pit. Everybody else in grab 4 brand new Eagle Feel Goods. No fuel, I would imagine, to keep these things light, and they're going to come on back out. It's going to be a huge rush to the finish. 14 car is now the first car underneath the 37, and additional behind them that also came in. So we got some old tires versus brand new tires. They're not going to be able to hold them off, but hey, when there's only 1 or 2 to go, you got to try whatever you can when you know you don't have anything for the leaders.
The Wienermobile leading this race. That's Asylums in the 6 to the inside on old tires, but look at Track Bar on the outside, literally forcing the issue. 37 to the lead out of the 4th corner. White flag is in the air. Does he take the money? Wreck down the front, Pete.
That's going to be it. Yep. That will be it.
Pat does it, wrecked down the front, ends this race, and it looks like the 37 of Track Bar with what was quite literally a last lap move on the outside with fresh tires forces his way to the front. I shouldn't say forces, that doesn't sound like a clean move, but he wins this race with a bold move on the outside. It was a dominant race for the 37 all day long.
Absolutely, Track Bar definitely had the field covered for the most part. There might have been a few out there that were able to contend, just couldn't get up there with them. So it's going to be Fluffy and Asylums to round out your top three. Good by all three Pro League drivers to say something for them. Let's go ahead and back out of this. I don't want to go to Vegas myself, not just yet anyway. Got to save up for that. But let's bring it on back and wait for our top three after their cool down lap, and we will be right back with our interviews. All right, so far I see the one and only Dohar in here. There's Asylums, just waiting on old Mr. Track Bar and other company to come on around. One more time, as you've heard Rick mention a few times, you see that Chase Elliott car in the bottom left-hand side. That is the car that he put into victory lane during the All-Star race at Bristol Motor Speedway just a few short weeks ago. Go on to that link that I put out there in chat. One raffle. I'm sorry. For $5 you get one raffle ticket. For $10 you get three. The diecast literally lights up just like his car did. It's the first series ever made that NASCAR has produced. You could have that. Again, follow the link. Try it, try it yourself. You're not going to get that diecast for $5 or $10. You're not even going to get a chance at it other than here. So come on out, support pediatric cancer research. Go to morethanthecape.org. Look up TJ's story. It all goes to a 5013C or 5031, something like that. And we're actually coming to the end of Pediatric Cancer Research Month. So yeah, come on out, show your support. It's definitely very much appreciated. All right, Rick. It looks like we got everybody here. You want to start with P3?
We're with our third place finisher in that number 6 Wienermobile, Asylums, coming home in third place. Asylums, coming to that last restart, we noticed you were one of 2 cars that did not pit. What was the conversation you had with your inner crew chief about not coming down pit road?
Well, it was kind of seeing what everybody else was gonna do in front of me, and if they were gonna pit, I was gonna stay out. But if they were gonna not, if they were gonna stay out, I was probably gonna pit there. That was my mindset going for that.
Absolutely, and it paid dividends, not only getting you a top 5 position, but you ended up with the third step on the podium. How hard was it hanging on to that hot rod with worn tires?
Well, we only had to go 2 laps, so I was just trying to hope for the best there. It was a little bit loose, definitely for 3 and 4 there coming to the white, but we were able to hold on to it.
And hold on to it you did for a top 3 spot. Congratulations on that podium. Pete, you're with our second place finisher.
Fluffy, it's Repeat. You got me, buddy.
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Man, I tell you what, it was a little difficult to tell you the difference between you and your counterpart in the 21 of Slade. But, man, once we got it right, it was right about the time that y'all were side by side just before that last caution. You really made your way up. Once you got into that top 5, you were pretty much a stable, fixture, in that string anytime it got a little spread out or anytime y'all got nose to tail. Walk us through those last few hectic laps after that caution and coming to that green-white checkered.
Yeah, man, it was pretty crazy going back to the field with about a couple of laps to go, and it was crazy, man. All race long we dealt with a lot of issues with the car. getting loose off the corner and everything else, and that those.
And I think we lost him.
We did indeed lose him, Pete, but that's okay because you are with our race winner in that 37.
Go for it, buddy. That's all Track Bar, and that's all you.
Track Bar, you not only put on a dominating performance today, but you put on a couple of good comeback performances, working your way from the back to the front. Congratulations on getting the top step on the podium. How was it with this draft package for the first time?
Well, I mean, the draft package was great and all, but it was not fun to drive my setup. I accidentally left my qualifying setup in there, and it was a completely different setup from my race setup. The sway bar, the shocks, air pressures, track bars, all that was different. You can only change so much in here. So I was out to left field to begin with, and I got hit at the beginning, had that one wreck happen and stuff, and tried to make some adjustments and everything, and just I had to keep working on it, working on it, working. I literally changed, I think, something on the car every single pit stop so I could try to get at least halfway decent. It wasn't that great. I mean, I felt like basketball was going in the corner, but I just drove the wheels off of it. That's all I could do and all that. And like you said, I came from the back to the front and everything. I think I split the field like middle three wide, didn't touch a single soul and everything, and drove back up to the front and all that. And had another instance around the last stage where I came back also and passed Rabbit for the lead. And yeah, I mean, it was something intense. I definitely had to be on my ball game tonight.
You very nearly did drive the wheels off it. We saw before that final caution with about 6 to go, you literally were struggling to hang on to the race car. Pitted before the final restart, managed to pull off a very, very impressive move around the 6 of Asylums to take the lead before that final caution. So we mentioned earlier towards the end of the race how you adapted best to the new rules and really came away with this win. Next week, we just take the same track and shrink it. We're going to Iowa. How do you feel about that?
Well, if I could take my Pro League setup from the Xfinity car and convert it over, I think I have a really good shot. That thing was a piece. I tell you, it's one of my best ups ever made. But I love short tracks in general. Any kind of short track we go to, besides Martinsville, I hate Martinsville. I love all of them. I mean, I'll be so happy to race at any of them. It's like my bread and butter. But I mean, like I said, it's an awesome package. Like I'm glad that NASCAR he incorporated this in the last update and everything. It definitely changes the ball game when it comes to race. Makes it interesting for sure.
It makes it interesting, and now the points table is going to be interesting as well because you came into Vegas ninth in points, but this win is certainly going to launch you up the table, and with yourself headed to Iowa next week, it's going to be a lot of fun to see what you can do there, my friend. Congratulations on the top step on that podium.
Yeah, thank you guys for putting this broadcast on. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you. Pete, what a fun night.
Absolutely a fun night. We saw all kinds of action, whether it was good, bad, or indifferent. Quite a few wrecks, but you kind of wonder, like I said earlier, if it was more about the unknowns of this draft package, whether people were coming up on other cars with just huge runs and having to check up, nowhere to go, and made some contact with the walls, or just as Track Bar said, way different scenario with the with the pushes and the pulls, not really, it's completely unknown. I don't know how much testing was done or whatnot, but man, these guys, I think they did a pretty phenomenal job for the circumstances. Track Bar able to get it done. I believe Track Bar, you're with Stout Whiskey or Stout Motorsports this year, right?
Yes, he is, Pete. I'm here with Track Bar. He's really heated. I don't know why he's heated. He's really mad. I'm with him right now, though. We're talking him down. But yes, he's on our team. We're really proud of him today. He's carrying the banner. We told him, we drafted you in the 4th round. We know you'll just show up whenever the heck you feel like it, and you'll get us wins whenever you do show up. He rage quit in qualifying last week. He made one qualifying lap, cried, and left. But we got him back out here tonight, and he got the job done. I talked him off the ledge after he loaded into his qualifying setup. So, really, it's just I'm not even a driver on this team anymore. I'm just Track Bar's driver coach. So I happily take my role. Back to you, Pete.
Yeah, I got you. Back to me. Oh boy, I tell you, that's yeah. Anyway, so that's what I was kind of getting to there, Rick. We talked in the beginning at what kind of a lead Stout had, and now also as a team owner, he's got a car in victory lane as well. So that team off to a great start. Have to see how they handle Iowa next week. But man, I definitely want to thank everybody that came out, hung out, chatted up, kept us all company. Rock NASCAR. Definitely appreciate you every time you come on out. Appreciate all the support you show the community. Rick James, man, it's been yet another fun one. We've been here together. Where's everybody going to find you this week?
Pete, my fans can find me on Twitter at I'm Rick James 36. That's I am Rick James 36, and on Twitch.tv at the same address. I'm Rick James 36. Pete, before we let your fans know where they can find you, I want to mention one more time we need to help these kids in their fight against pediatric cancer. The link is in the chat. You can find the link on Pete's Twitter, and I'll retweet it myself. One ticket for $5 or three tickets for $10. It's just $10, folks, for three entries to win that Chase Elliott All-Star Diecast. And more importantly, you will help save a child's life. Three tickets, $10. The link is in the chat. Help these kids win that race car. And Pete, the fans can also find the link on your Twitter. Where's that?
Twitter's the same as everything else that I broadcast with. Xbox Repeat 1975, Twitter, YouTube, right here on Twitch, all Repeat 1975. Please feel free to come on out, follow it. More Than a Cape would absolutely appreciate any and all help. Again, go to morethancape.org. Read up on TJ's story. It'll definitely pull at a couple heartstrings. And nobody ever wants to see a 5-year-old succumb to cancer. They haven't even begun to live 5. So come on out, help support them. It's all for a great cause. And Rick, I definitely appreciate you coming out and helping to push that as well. Not only for the diecast, diecast everybody can buy, not for $10 or even have a chance for it for $10, but it's more about the cause.
It's always about that cause, Pete. It's always about that greater cause. But it's also fun for these fans that they get to participate with us in the chat, and they get to not only help save a kid's life, but where else are you going to get a 2020 diecast for $10? Literally nowhere will you get a 2020 authentic Race 1 diecast for $10. So shell out a $10. Just get yourself 3 entries and win that car. Help save a kid's life. Pete, we could go on about this forever, but I think we need to get ready for next week at Iowa.
Yeah, gonna get it ready for next week. And one more quick thing about this diecast. Little Birdie told me that he's gonna try to get this signed by Chase before we get this handed out at the final XCLT championship race, which is in just 6 short races. So I believe at last count there was about 40 tickets that had been sold. Man, I'd love a 1 in 40 shot at a beautiful diecast like that. So, yeah, last thing there, but absolutely Iowa next week. There's going to be a whole lot going on this week throughout the communities. Whether you're still in that tournament or if you're going to come out and hang out with me and NNR, or you and TNT, or eSpark, all at the tail end of next week. There's going to be a lot to watch no matter what channel you go to. Definitely looking forward to it. But for me, everybody, I would definitely, as I said before, thank all of y'all for coming out, hanging out, keeping the chat going. I love the positive vibes. I love there's no negativity around any of this. I definitely thank you all for that. Again, please stay safe, stay healthy, keep your distance, wear your mask, and we will see you somewhere. We'll see you somewhere around the track. Take it easy, guys.